Welcome to the Hamsi Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Friday, October 26, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 502. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at negative 411. We had 12 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 7 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. For the volatility, 171,000 contracts traded on the VIX today, with 21 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in November, we saw a 0.91 reading, which 51% of the total premiums paid. And in February, we saw a 1.1 reading, which 18% of the total premiums paid. All of them here, as you can see, were neutral readings or bearish readings on the dollar-weighted put-call ratio. Here we have the weekly chart for SPX. As you can see here, today we were down one handle for the day at 14.11, let's call it 14.12, but another down day here, which is not good for the market. Overall, on this weekly chart, we can see here we were bouncing off the 0 sigma line here of the weekly, and it's going to be important that we hold this 0 sigma. We want to maybe try to go again for the 14.43 level. That's going to be an important level here. And if we fail here, we're looking for 1363, that's negative 1 sigma. CI on that weekly chart looks lower, looks negative, and here CI div looks negative also. If we go quickly to the daily chart, we can see here negative 3 sigma is at 1387. That's going to be the lower target if we failed here at the level we just talked about. And then we're looking for the 200-day moving average at 1377. In case of a bounce, we're looking for 1422. That was our previous resistance. And also we are going to look for 1340. If we go to our moving averages chart, here we can see it. We are looking also at some support here at the 100-day moving average. 1396, that's going to be critical to hold this level. 1396 is going to be our last support before going to this 1377 of the 200-day moving average. If we bounce, we're looking for this 1424. We talked about 1423 on the other one, so that's going to be pretty important. That was our previous resistance. And a higher bounce, the 55-day moving average at 1434. So that's what we're looking here on the SPX. For SPY, here we have the daily chart, and we were calling 139.9, let's call it 140, and we almost got there today on the lows, which was 140.40. After we got some type of a bounce here, we're looking this as a last support level before going to the 137.90, which is the 200-day moving average. So getting long here, maybe a target of 142.24 and then 143.71. That's going to be the two targets here on the upside in case we hold this 100-day moving average. Now going to the Qs. Here we have the daily chart for the Qs and the Nasdaq ETF. As you can see here, we have a 200-day moving average being broken intraday, but we were able to close above it. So you can see here this pattern here, pretty bearish pattern here. We test the 200-day moving average once, twice, 3 times, 4 times now in the last 4 days. 2 of them we broke the 200-day moving average intraday, but we were able to close above it. So I'm looking maybe for a break of this 200-day moving average, and the target would be 62 or 6 and then 60. Those are going to be the two targets on the downside. Not so bullish chart here on the Qs. If we go to the weekly chart for the Qs, you can see here we already broke 0 sigma last week, and this week we confirm. We tried to break it to the upside, no go, and now we're going lower. So we're looking for this 64.13 and maybe 61.80. That's pretty close to the 62 level we talked about. So that's what we have here for the weekly chart on the Qs. Now going for the IWM, which is the Russell 2000 ETF. This is the risk on, risk off ETF here. Today we have a down day, 0.5% for the day. And we see here we tested again the 200-day moving average, and we're not able to break it to the downside. Eventually we keep testing this 200-day moving average here, we're going to break lower, and we're looking for 75.50s and eventually 69.50s. 72.50, sorry. This level, which was this low here, that's a pretty important level, and a substantial drop from here, this level on. On the upside, we have this downward trend line as resistance, which is more or less 82.24, and then we're gonna have it lower as time passes. We also have 82.50 as our previous support and resistance, so that's gonna be another hard level to break here on the IWM. So we're looking for lower levels in conclusion here for the IWM. We go to the weekly chart. We are slightly breaking the 0 sigma. We broke it intra-week. We did not close there, but we are basically at that level, so we want to confirm next week what's happening here with these levels. We do want to hold this 81.19 level, which is 0 sigma on the weekly chart. Now let's go to GLD, and let's start with the daily chart. Here we have the daily chart for GLD. Today we were basically flat. We were up in the morning, and then we started drifting lower. Futures were up in overnight, then we sold off during the night, and around 7 a.m. we got a big pop on the futures. But then here you could see we did nothing. We sold off a little, pretty much like yesterday, and we're getting some problems getting over this level around the 10-day moving average. So that's not positive here for GLD. 167.25 is going to be a hard level to break, and then we have 167.56, the 50-day moving average, even harder to break. So we're looking like a bearish chart here, maybe some bounce off this oversold level after this big bounce lower. So we're maybe looking for the target of 161.47. That's going to be the 200-day moving average. That would be a very nice place here to start maybe a long position, which is the 200-day and the 100-day moving average. So maybe try to break that level one more time to the upside, fail, and go lower to the 161.47. That's what's happening here on GLD. Going to the weekly chart, we still have the 162 level, which is 0 sigma on the weekly chart to break. That's gonna be pretty important again, as we talked on the other charts. But we have something important here. We have 4 consecutive down weeks. As you can see here, in 2012 we didn't have 4 consecutive down weeks on GLD before, so that's gonna be important to see how it works out next week. Last chart we're gonna look at is the VIX. Here we have the weekly chart for the VIX. We're starting to go down. Today we were down 1.7%. We broke 0 sigma on the weekly chart, which is important last week, and we confirmed this week with that. So you can see here, sigma channels are pretty compressed. We may be looking for 2140 on the weekly chart. That's going to be the target on the upside, which would be a little bearish for equities. If we go to the daily chart to see today's action, we are able to hold the 200-day moving average and still holding that, which is pretty important here. So we're gonna see what happens next week. Watch this 200-day moving average, and maybe for a surprise on a pop in the VIX. We have special offer by TradeStation. Get your HEMC Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.